Yep.
All set. Hello and welcome to USTS, the Ultimate Sports Training Show. I'll be your host for today's show, Bob Lemire. And joining me on today's show is, they call him the sports guy here over in DATV, production technician, Mike Dobbs.
Yes.
Welcome to the show, Mike.
Hello, Bob. Thanks for having me. Good morning.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
As I'm saying, Mike's he does most of the sports things. I know the whole.
Pretty much.
You got a whole crew there.
Yep.
But I don't know. Are you kind of in charge of the?
Yeah, I think unofficially, I'm also like the sports coordinator.
Okay, sports coordinator.
Yeah, certainly Gary, our executive director, helps to organize a lot of the sports that I cover. But for all intents and purposes, I'm the guy who makes the schedule. I'm there at every sports game. Yeah. I'm there making sure it's all edited on the back end and posted. So yeah.
And just tell me a little about yourself. Beside that,
well, my name is Mike Dobbs. I work here at DATV, one of these lovely studios here where we're doing this podcast. I'm a production technician, as Bob said, and I have been working here for about 11 years now as a production tech, doing primarily sports production.
I remember when you started.
Yeah.
It seemed like it was last year. 2 years.
Crazy.
11 years. Jesus.
Yeah. I'm actually only a guest on this from last week. You kind of just asked offhandedly, like, Mike, you've been here kind of a long time, haven't you? And
sports,
I was like, yeah. And you're like, how long? I'm like, it's been a little over a decade now.
Imagine. Jesus.
Yeah, it goes by quick. You've been doing your show for that long. Longer. I know that.
34 years.
Yep.
Not all here.
Not all here.
PATV, and then I come right here.
Yep.
I think here, and it wasn't in this studio, but at DATV,
sure.
Probably, I would say about 25 years.
Yeah.
Or maybe even more. I can't. I lost the track.
Crazy how time flies.
Truth, yeah. But I mean, I notice I watch a lot of the Drake at Sports. I mean, it's, I'm a sports nut myself.
I'll shout you out. I appreciate. I often you comment on our live broadcast. Just
right.
Great job, guys.
Of course,
I like the engagement.
The technology because I've seen it over the years. A small thing like DATV, which isn't small anymore, but back in the day, it was almost like you're out of a garage.
Oh yeah.
And now we have studios and the quality wasn't anything. Right now, you're almost like a CBS technician on sports. It's almost the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, even when we started in 2013, I mean, when I was hired, there was a discussion immediately about sports programming, or rather the lack thereof here at DATV.
Right.
And right away, I was, I think, hired in part because I had some previous experience at my first job after college doing sports production for Uxbridge Cable Access.
Okay, yeah.
And immediately they were like, well, we have all these varsity sports here in Drake and we don't have coverage of them, so we'd like you to cover them. And it started 11 years ago with, it was just me alone with one camera going out there covering all this myriad of sports. One tripod, one camera, one little recording card, and with a somewhat of a background knowledge of all these sports, but I certainly had not covered all of these sports before.
Right. Yeah.
So it was really just guerrilla style filmmaking,
going
really.
Right in. Yep.
And now it's evolved to have a production van with multiple people, multiple cameras, replay, and integration with our scoreboards, and it's like the production has become much more sophisticated and rapid. Modern.
And I don't know. Is there any other facility like this?
As far as we know, even in the cable access landscape,
that's what I'm saying.
Massachusetts is one of those states that does have a fair amount of cable access stations going around. But even among that
group,
that sphere of people, I think it's not many access stations have a production van. Not many of them go out and cover all of their varsity sports, or at least I won't say I cover every single one. I cover many of them as much as I can, and only the varsity ones. But I think Peabody might have a van. I know Chelmsford Telemedia has a van. I'm sure some of the larger access stations like Newton and all that. There's certainly other towns in Massachusetts cable access stations, but I mean, even around here in the Merrimack Valley or Middlesex County, even I think it's fair to say that we are one of the top producers of varsity sports content or production-based remote
Right.
on location shoots and stuff like that. So,
Because I've been to others, especially in New Hampshire, and it's like you're in someone's basement or their living room, and I'm like,
hostage videos.
this is it. I mean, I don't say anything,
Yeah.
but they're doing what they can with the money that they get. It's all come down, it
Exactly.
boils down to your money. But this is, and my kudos to everyone who works here. Gary's got quite the crew, the best crew around, and
Absolutely.
everyone works together. I see humble. Everyone's kind of humble. You know, nobody actually walks.
You know what?
around.
We're the most humble.
I got a feeling you are the most humble.
The most humble.
See,
Better than anyone else.
the funny thing is, right before the show, me and Mike were talking about how our accents and how we come about.
I think I have an accent, and then I hear you talk, and it's like I don't even know if I'm from New England anymore.
Yeah, I know.
How you doing? It's
Hey,
Bob Lemire.
hey, Bob Lemire. And that's how people say, "Hey, what's your name?" Bob Lemire.
Where are you from, Bob? I just want to ask.
Lowell, Mass.
You're from Lowell. See, I always put it on people from Billerica because you have that thick.
More to Barica.
Yeah.
Imagine Lowell and
Billerica.
Barica, you think has a different type of accent.
Not really, but
yeah.
but man, yours is nice and thick.
Yeah, it's thick, yeah.
Thick.
Well, 68 years in the same area.
That'll do it.
Laurel and Drake it. I just talked the way I think everybody else talks.
I can understand you.
Yeah,
I just hope people on the West Coast can understand us if they're listening right now.
If I say certain words, like I've dealt with a lot of people out there, especially the Taekwondo world. Holy gee. As I say, they were calling me Rocky. Now, Rocky, I know how
Rocky's a fictional character out of Philly too.
Yeah,
not
Philadelphia.
even New York. So we're being confused with two other
With two
cities.
others, yeah.
At least they're in the Northeast.
I'm saying, wait a minute, I'm from Boston. They know freaking New York.
And they're like, oh yeah, what part of Boston? And you say Lowell.
Yeah, Lowell, yeah. Well, and then they called me Boston. Hey, Boston.
Yeah, all right. I'd take that nickname either way.
So you covered over 500 varsity games. Wow,
yeah. At this point,
you got it down.
I think it's fair to say that because again, it's 3 seasons each year, with about 5 separate sports each season.
Right.
So that's 15 sports, with around 20 games because we try to do at least 4 games each of 5 sports, so that's
Right.
about 20 games.
Right.
So not including playoffs, I think conservatively that's like 60 games a year.
Right.
And then after 10 years, it's more like 600 games.
That's right.
But if I want to be even more conservative, it's at least over 500 that
Oh,
I've
yeah.
done in the
Yeah.
time here,
There you go.
which is
that's
nuts to think about.
You
but
could
yeah.
teach it. You could teach it, and
Yeah.
you really could.
I do kind of teach.
Oh, do
it.
you
when,
really?
When we in a way, when we get some volunteers who have had
Right, you're teaching
some
them, right.
limited
Right.
exposure to video production, I can still teach
Right.
people how to
Right.
get it. There's a lot of different jobs to do, and
You'd have to have some kind, and I know you have some kind of sports background just to have the feel. I mean, you can't go into this if you don't know sports.
Yeah.
You can't.
I would say that.
I mean, you can give it
you
a
don't necessarily have to participate in them, but you have to at the very least have a understanding of the
Especially
game.
say you watch the Patriots all the time, all right, or any football.
Yeah.
You see how the cameraman makes his move.
Yep.
You don't do it right.
Yep.
You're all over the place, and you're missing plays.
If you look hard enough on some of those CBS, NBC, Fox, ABC broadcasts, you might even catch little errors.
Of
here and there.
course, yeah.
You'll see them cut to somebody,
Yeah.
and then the camera's moving, and then they quickly cut away.
Right, 'cause they made
even
it-
on the top, pro network television level, they'll
maybe
make
he's a
small
new guy.
mistakes.
Maybe he's a new guy.
And I always say, "Oh, somebody got fired." Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
We're not the only ones making small mistakes.
Well, even all right. So even yourself. I mean, I bet you get a lot of compliments from the parents and even the competitors. Nice job.
Yeah.
You caught me in
People
this.
are-
You
yeah.
caught me in my free throw.
Even-
you caught me
yeah.
with my catch.
That's something I like about doing this is even if the team that I'm primarily covering Drake teams,
Right.
but even if it's a game that I covered where Drake didn't do particularly well and no one's really coming up and being like, oh, thank you
right.
so much for covering this.
Yeah,
we will still get comments sometimes from parents of other teams be like, hey, thanks for
job.
coming out. Where can I get this video?
Right.
My kid was
That's
in this
their
game
kid,
and
right.
there was this play. I'd love to see it. And I really do like the posterity of being able to look back and say, we don't have every game, but we do have many
Right.
of them that you wouldn't otherwise cover. Certainly not with multiple cameras and in high definition or 4K.
No, that's professional. Yeah. Like I say, when I was when my son was starting football at 6 years old, all right,
Oh yeah, you were telling me
1,000 years
you
ago.
were the guy that went out and.
Well, no, I had my own camera because I was on video every game he had.
Yeah.
The old Sears VHS. It was like a
Massive.
Volkswagen on
Yeah.
my shoulder
Oh, yeah.
in the cold.
Yeah.
And I remember
Ugh.
2 hours going, but we'd get home and we'd play it, and then we'd play it in slow motion if you made a good catch or a good run. And
Was this wasn't Pop Warner? This was
Pop Warner and Greater Lowell.
JV varsity.
All that. Yeah,
Yeah.
he played the undefeated freshman team, the only undefeated freshman team in Greater Lowell.
And I imagine because it's high school, he probably had to play offense and defense.
He played everything. Yeah, he was the
Special
number one.
teams.
Yeah, and the thing is, we'd go home and we'd watch it in slow motion with my father. He passed away, and his grandfather, and we'd watch that over and over.
Glued to it.
Pop Warner.
Oh, yeah.
And then it inspired him because he would see how everyone was really. So all these kids that you're filming. You're taking it granted. Oh yeah, they're going home watching themselves with
Yeah.
their parents and their aunts and uncles, and they go, "Whoa!"
There's definitely times where it feels almost a little fruitless, I would say. Like it's almost like, well, no one seems to be engaged or watching live at the moment.
Right,
but constantly, at least on the player side,
Yeah.
I've noticed parents will say, "Oh yeah, the kids are like staring at this video."
yeah?
After a soccer game, soccer players might watch this and study everything.
That's right. Yeah.
Because it's just about like where the placement of all the players.
What you've
What
been
was I
doing.
doing wrong
Right.
here? Where did I miss this key pass?
That's right,
Everything.
yeah.
So it
You
is
learn a
for
lot.
somebody. No
Right.
matter how fruitless you might think
Right.
your coverage of a sport is, even if you're getting discouraged as a player or anything, there's always room for improvement and analysis.
That's your humbleness. That's what I'm saying. You don't
My
realize
superior humility.
you
Yes,
really
the best humility.
You really don't understand. You take it for granted. That's when you're in a field of anything, and I don't care what sport and if you're good at it, you almost think everyone does. Everyone knows this because you've been around so long with so many people around the business. Everyone does it. No, there's a handful maybe in the world that can do what you can do.
Yeah.
But you say anybody can do it. No, if you put me behind the camera and I know sports, I'd be all over the place. The camera would be flying and
there's almost a such thing as too much sports knowledge, because there's sports knowledge and then sports video.
Yeah, you gotta go with the plays and stuff. So basketball must be kind of easier than football, or is football? What's the easiest one for you to do?
Well, the easiest sports I would say are ones that don't require a lot of movement.
Zipping around. Right?
So in that sense, I would say things like volleyball and wrestling.
Wrestling
Probably
easy,
wrestling
yeah,
might
yeah.
be the easiest because they're contained in one circle.
Right.
You can have different angles if you like, but
Okay.
I would say the more difficult ones to cover are the fast moving ones. So probably the hardest is hockey because they are moving the fastest. But I would also say things like baseball is particularly difficult to cover.
Oh, that's hard, yeah.
Not just because the field is so large and we need cameras
It happens
very
too
far
fast,
apart.
right.
But yeah, exactly. They might not be moving as fast all the time as they do in
right.
hockey.
But that one
But when
should,
they move,
yeah.
it's so much fast. You can throw a ball faster than anyone can move or even skate.
Right.
Like even the throw from the pitcher's mound to first base will get there faster than even the fastest ice skater can skate there.
Right.
So in a camera sense, I would say things like baseball and hockey are the most difficult.
You got to
and
get the
football.
angles. You got to know the angles. And now, how many cameras? You got 3, 4?
Sometimes 3 and 4. Sometimes
so
as
you got
little as
every
1.
angle. Every angle. You're way down there. You're way down there
Yeah.
in the center and stuff.
Generally, it's at least 1. If we can get more, sometimes it's 2, 3, 4.
And so you're in front of the controls, and you're jumping from camera to camera if you want, zooming in, zooming out.
Yep.
Boy, you must be exhausted when you're done because that's a lot, right? Concentration.
It really. The only thing I will say it takes, and it takes the ability to multitask and be aware of things happening on the fly.
Right.
This isn't necessarily for everyone, but if you've ever worked in that kind of environment, like perhaps in a restaurant or any fast-paced thing where you have to juggle and prioritize different tasks, that is kind of the bread and butter of sports production because unlike another traditional TV show or movie or anything else you're filming, you cannot stop and cut
too late.
and ask people to redo things.
It's too
You're
late.
covering organic things happening live.
Right.
I can't ask them to shoot that shot again.
Or you missed a long,
you
long bomb. You missed it, and it was one of the greatest catches in the world. It must happen.
Oh yeah.
And you're like,
Or you even did capture it, but you captured it on the wrong angle. Now we can't go back because I cut to this angle that I thought was going to be
Oh,
good.
and so when you cut to one angle, the other camera shut right off? I mean, you can't, it's not on that you could go to it later?
Not if we're live cutting. You know, if typically it's a live cut production, and so I'm there making the cuts as we go. Right. If it were recorded and then edited later, and we do what we call multicam recording, I have the benefit to retroactively choose the correct angle.
Oh, okay.
But if it's live, I just have that's why it's much more critical to make sure you're cutting to the correct angle while you're doing it live, because again, much like I can't ask everyone on the field, hey, can you stop and redo that? I can also go back in time and ask myself, hey, don't cut to that camera. You might think it looks like a good angle, but he's going to shoot and go, and he's going to cut this way, and you're going to want the wider angle. Yeah. So it's stuff like that. It's a lot.
That's fun. That sounds like
it's definitely engaging, stimulating.
Yeah.
It definitely teaches you to, be prepared for anything. Because as much as you think you know a sport, I mean, people play it all differently. So,
but if I know, especially with my children, I have a daughter and a son, and if I'm watching DATV and one of them made a great move, and you caught it perfect, man, I'd be calling you up. I'd be texting. I mean, you got a nice catch. I mean, because they got it forever.
Yeah,
it's not like back in the day. Like I said, I did my son's football games. I got hundreds of them from ages 6 to 19.
Yeah,
and 10 a year. Where are they? They're up in my attic or down my cellar in the big VHS.
You could make a compilation.
Well, the problem is the VHSs, they're molded out. They died.
Yeah.
And I almost had them in airproof boxes, Army airproof boxes.
And they still got compromised?
They still got, well, I don't know how. I'll open them up and I see them all full of mold or fuzz. It's like a fuzz. That must be mold.
Well, I guess so.
From the.
Maybe they weren't dry.
I don't know. But.
That's a real shame.
But what I'm saying now with technology,
now it's
you got this on your phone, your phone forever.
Yeah, yeah. Even if a recording were to somehow fail, we go live on Facebook and YouTube generally.
Yeah.
So as long as those videos exist, even if we somehow lost all our recordings,
Jesus.
Yeah, I do like that a digital version of that game or whatever is almost permanent.
Wow.
And if I were a high school athlete, I would, be grateful for, the ability to look back at some of my games.
Well, let's say, I remember we were talking, I think it was last week, or a week before. You won't show some of the games before playoffs between teams because the coaches even
there's
ask
there's a lot of visibility. So I think certainly teams consider it a competitive disadvantage if they allow their games to be seen during playoffs.
Right.
So we do sometimes get requests from coaches, hey, can you, temporarily take these games down, so because we don't want our opponents to be researching us.
But you can get them anyway on the phone if you really
There's
want.
Probably, I think the more tenacious coaches will find a way through.
Well, on DATV, you go on DATV, they got all the old shows. You know that, right?
We will listen. You're letting the cat out of the bag here, Bob.
What's the difference?
We will take them down off of our major socials like YouTube and stuff. That's like I said, a more tenacious coach may find their way over to our VOD and search it out there.
Why not? I would.
Yeah.
If I had a big game in the playoffs, I want the three angles. And the main middle linebacker. Look what you.
We're just trying to remain as impartial as we can, but because we do lean towards Drake, we will do the courteous thing and remove it from YouTube. But
and you don't have to.
If you're particularly ambitious, you may be able to catch the stream anyway.
And I let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't know that. Oh, I was listening to this.
That's okay. Football season's not for another 9 months.
Imagine, huh?
Yeah.
And, so which season are we into now? We're in
We have just begun the winter season.
Oh, basketball?
So winter season, this 5 are girls and boys basketball, hockey, gymnastics, and wrestling.
Okay.
Which is interesting because this is typically every other season, all those games are all those sports are covered with multiple cameras, but with hockey and gymnastics and wrestling, I typically all do by myself, one camera style. Just like I did 11 years ago for all the sports. But
because hockey would be, you have 3 cameras, that'd be hard to do.
Hard to cut.
To start cutting and stop.
I've done 2-camera hockey in the past. You really need that wide shot for most of the game.
Right. You got to keep
and then you have a tight shot for different detail things. It's mostly for flavor, I would say, not so much for the gameplay.
Right.
If you're doing a hockey broadcast, you have breaks between like icing and penalties and intermissions, and there's a lot of stoppage of time where a detail camera is nice. But strictly for the sport coverage, you only need to cut to that detail shot every so often.
Right, yeah.
So you can achieve a proper hockey game coverage just in the sports sense with a single camera.
Because, and I'm talking way back in the 60s, I was a hockey fan with the Bruins. They were all stars, and they were rock stars, these guys. Derek Sanderson and all. You're too young to really know what I, but, oh, you loved it. And you still couldn't see the puck. I mean, that's old black and white almost.
I still struggle seeing them. We shoot at the Songus now.
Yeah.
I shoot. Drake does their home games there, as does Lowell, and I imagine some other teams.
Okay, yeah.
But even with that excellent vantage point, even with a perfectly because I started filming hockey in Janus Rink in Lowell, and it was rough.
That's what I used to play when I was a kid.
The coldest, most miserable rink I've ever.
Is it still there?
It's still there. I haven't
be.
filmed there in a long time. Those benches are rough. That place was very, very cold. I would retreat to the bathrooms during intermissions to stay warm.
It's the oldest around. It's one of the only ones around. And when I was a teenager, we'd get up at 3:00 in the morning because that's the only time you could get the thing.
Yeah, ice time is ridiculous.
We'd play at 3 in the morning.
They're booked all day long. If you want to free skate, it's like, okay, there's an hour at 1 in the morning or another hour at like 6:30 to 7:30.
Kids today don't know. You go in the Songus, you might as well be in your living room, and it's you got the beer tent.
You can see everything. Yeah, there's food and beer everywhere. There's ample bathrooms, and
you're lucky
it's
you
warm.
get popcorn back in the day.
You could wear a T-shirt in there. But even under those conditions, I can barely see the puck. I have to rely on everyone's movements to follow action.
You got to know the game.
So fast.
You got to know the game.
Yep.
And you know. But remember, I don't know if you remember, and this is a while back. They tried to get the little flare that was like wherever the puck was a little red flare.
Yeah.
Well, that didn't last long. People did not want
People
that.
hate it.
Well,
Yeah.
it was going, and then people getting sick and dizzy and like.
It works very well for a replay, but not for a live broadcast. I would say it'll make you sick.
Right. Yeah. You don't do golf, huh?
We don't do golf. I don't know how I'd go about it. We would need a camera at every.
You got the van. You got the van. Just drive down the freeway.
Yeah, I'm sure the groundskeepers would love that.
Yeah.
We would. There are some sports we don't cover: golf, track, cross country.
Why not track? Track would be just not enough.
Track it's tough to cover in a traditional sense. I mean, it's not that it can't be done. It's just there's logistics. You'd have to have, I guess, a camera at the start and finish line. But what do you do for all the runners throughout? Do you stay on a particular runner because everybody's at different spaces?
I can only. But I mean, there's so many different sport types of track. I mean, you get the high jump,
indoor,
the
outdoor.
Wow.
There's other events that aren't running. Yeah,
the
like
shot,
jump,
but the high jump.
Yep.
I mean, pole vault or whatever. That's fun to watch.
Yeah,
So maybe we'll add it to our repertoire here.
Yeah.
You're the sports guy.
Why not? I'm doing 15. Why not 17?
So you've worked all over. I see camera at Precious Moments Wedding Film. What's that all about?
That is a wedding company out of Hudson, New Hampshire.
Yeah.
And I work there with Gary, actually, my boss.
Wow.
And we both film weddings. We've been doing that for about 8 years now.
Wow, that's a nice gig.
And much like sports production, it's one of those productions that you cannot just say, "Hold on, stop." No. Interrupt your wedding vows right now because I need to. Yeah, it's a very much
that's wild.
On the go. Cover this correctly. You have to anticipate the rhythms.
Right.
Obviously, every game is different. Every wedding is different. But there are key rhythms that you can identify and then go with it and just hope for the best because this is a do or die kind of scenario.
Years ago, we never had that. People brought their own long cameras, but no one had any production.
Even now, it's people think to do a photographer, but the videographer. It's not that they don't think of it, but like it doesn't occur to them until they think of it. Then they're like, "Oh yeah, I want a videographer."
Wouldn't that? Well, say you had a video, you can frame by frame. If you like something or picture, saying, "I want that picture," you could actually grab that out of the video, right?
I like the combination of photo and video. The photographer will do all your formals,
right,
and will get moments from the day.
Okay,
but video gets the speeches. Video gets the specific vows.
Well,
video gets the best man.
The craziness that can happen.
Video gets the dance. I believe there's room for both. Like photo gets the highly curated formal moments or like a silly candid moment, but the video do you what if you're at a wedding and an elderly family member later passes away,
But you
you don't
them.
just want to see a picture of them. Wouldn't it be wonderful to hear their voice again, or to hear those wonderful words your
right.
dad said at your wedding?
Right.
Stuff like that. That I think video is almost. Of course, I'm biased. I do it, so I'm just trying to.
Well, no, it's not
say I'm
new,
for half
but
of
it's
myself,
it's
but-
the upcoming. If one person saw someone else's wedding video, I got to get that for my wedding.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just you must see bloopers. You must have bloopers that, and we won't get into too much. But I mean, imagine.
I don't personally edit them. I imagine there's stuff that gets cut out. Certainly,
Right.
Right.
So you'll do it, but you won't edit.
I don't. I could, but
Okay.
there's two separate processes. There.
Okay.
I film it, and then they even if you edit for them, the company gets the final edit, the final cut, as it were. But they work with the couple every time, so it's unique to each couple. I'm sure there are couples who don't mind so much a little bit of looser style of funny, little
You're
bit
going to
more
look back at
laid
it 20
back.
years, 30, 50 years and go, look at what happened with Uncle Freddie.
Yeah, I've gotten your drunk grandma dancing a couple times. I've gotten
Christ.
some people getting
That's
a little
the thing.
rowdy,
That's
but
the
some
thing.
people want a more refined,
Oh, yeah.
sophisticated,
Our
formal
our
church
family don't act like
wedding.
that. Yeah, our family
people are.
don't.
We don't drink. We don't do any of that. So please don't cover us.
So you would start the wedding and everyone's prim and proper, and by the end of the wedding, clothes come out.
People loosen up for sure.
And I believe it.
It's not just even if it's not alcohol related. We've now spent the whole day together.
Right.
Now I'm no longer this strange person with a camera that's popped in and I'm got a camera in their face. Now it's just like they've forgotten about me, and that's exactly what you want.
Right.
Because now I can capture you guys doing your having your fun without being conscious of a camera.
That's right. Yeah. And you could actually and then think about it. I mean, like I say, you think that everyone does this, and everything you do, it's not. And you could put together your own book or your own little story of this. My memoirs. This is what happened at this game. Because every game I bet you has something.
It's funny you say that. I really should. There's so many games we've walked away from. I'm sure Nate and Matt, who helped me on a lot of these shoots and are with me, could probably remember, but there's so many that I feel like I've forgotten that we've walked away from. And
when you say walked away from, I don't know.
I mean, after a game is over, and we walk, we're breaking down. And we go, wow, remember when this happened?
Right? Yeah.
Everything is so unique. After 500 games, there's been a lot of stuff that happened.
Well, you see, you go and you're seeing a lot of times the same crowd for the same sport.
Sure.
You're seeing the same parents, and some parents are overwhelming, and you see them, they're there right in front of you, but you're on over here, but you can hear them.
Oh, for sure. The big phenomenon of sports production is that wherever I put my microphone, parents will invariably sit next to said microphone and begin to chit-chat.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a hot mic.
Yeah.
I've even had in football coordinators up on the press box with the camera people talking some inappropriate stuff about these student athletes, for sure. And I've had
forgetting that they're on.
Yeah, at the beginning of games, saying, "Hey, is this thing recording audio?" And I go, "Yeah, of course."
And they can't hold you accountable for that. That's
no.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just the other day, there was a hot mic on your presidential candidate, so they were saying things. I won't get into any politics, but they were saying things that they didn't know the mic was on. Wait a minute.
You have to. I don't know how, especially politicians. I don't care what.
You better know what the mic's
You
on.
have to always assume the mic is on.
The mic is on.
No matter what.
That's right. Or you're going to get in trouble. But I mean, you go to the same football game or the same wrestling because you get tough kids.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of the tough kids are tough because their parents are tough. And then you see the parents overwhelming, and you hear them. Because I remember when I was doing my son,
wrestling,
the same
hockey
guys.
Hockey is big on that.
Oh,
the
God,
parents who will
the
be screaming
worst, right?
Every time their child has possession of the puck or the ball or whatever, then that parent will be like, "Go, let's go." And we always kind of laugh because it's almost like, well, what kind of advice is? Of course they want to go. Of course they know to go. Right. Maybe if you weren't there screaming at your kid.
Right. Well, and then all of a sudden. then all of a sudden somebody they can check anybody they want, or they can hit them against the boards. That's fine. Somebody gets them, and that's illegal.
Yep.
Now they want to kill the refs, and where do we watch the films? And I'm like,
ref, come on,
ref.
What are we doing?
It's always the ref.
Yeah. It's always their fault. We get a lot of that because our mic is pointed to the field, but between the field and the mic are a bunch of parents.
A lot of parents.
Even though their audio is going away from the mic, it's so close to it, you'll hear it.
When I was doing my son's game, I had the mic on, and people are talking. But at the football games, you always had this one guy, and all he did for an hour and a half during the game, stick him! Freddie, stick him! That's all he said over and over for an hour and a half.
Stick him?
Stick him.
Is that for defense, I guess?
Yeah, he wanted his son to beat everybody up on that day and stick him, hit him. And all right. Now, you can imagine the son going in the stands, can you stop, Dad? Just, can you give me a one?
After 800 times of my dad saying stick 'em, eventually a down would come where I'd be like, Dad, I know what to do here.
Yeah, I'm going to stick 'em.
I'm going to stick 'em. I think I'm supposed to stick 'em. You can sit down.
Yeah, and everyone's got their own. And I'm not saying, because I watch my daughter and stuff.
I understand the passion. I make fun, but I understand where these people are coming from.
It's your child.
It gets a little,
But see, then the passion, and hopefully they'll watch the games and hear themselves saying,
I hope.
Oh,
all these years, Bob, I hope, but man, I don't think they do.
The wife will go, that's you screaming over there. Is it? Yeah, and everyone knows it's you because
everyone knows.
Yeah. I do know that hockey is in my world, the fans are the craziest.
Move the puck. I hear that a lot. Move the puck. That's the classic line.
The poor goalie, something gets by him and he's only a kid. Man, they'll rip him apart.
Oh my God. Swiss cheese! I've heard some awful stuff, that's the more tame one.
Oh yeah, that's tame. Well, because you're there all the time.
Because it's somebody's kid, but if it's not my kid, I don't care about insulting yours.
Switch the goalie. Switch. I'm like, are you kidding me? He's a kid. It's a game.
Yeah.
A lot of them don't realize it's a game.
Football, hockey, wrestling, those are the big ones where parents will get pretty ruthless.
Yeah.
Lacrosse too.
Yeah.
Well,
every game.
Every game.
You're not talking just once in a while.
Sure.
This is every game, or whether it's one side or the other.
Mm.
Now, when you do your filming, are you usually on the side of the home team? No, if you're home. Maybe if you're home, right?
Yeah. Typically, we're doing Drake at home games. I've done some away ones.
No, I'm talking about you're in this where they sit.
Yeah, we're on the home side, but it changes the geometry of every field. Typically now, since the Drake at High School field got turf, they've moved everything onto there.
Right.
Formerly, it was football there, but it was soccer in the backfields. Okay. It was lacrosse in the backfield, or on the track. They got turf fields on both areas. So now they play football, field hockey, soccer.
Wow.
Lacrosse, all
that's good for you because you've got that.
It makes it a little bit easier because now we have one field that we can always go to.
You're inside.
No, we're on a press box.
But that's still
the camera's on a press box.
You're covered.
No, it's on the top of the press box, which is uncovered.
Why?
I'm covered inside a van, but the camera is uncovered on the top of the press box
because a better view, but you can't. I mean, rain and snow.
We're probably not going to cover in rain or snow though.
Right.
Yeah. Even if they still play a game in rain, we won't cover if it's in rain because the camera is not protected, obviously.
Well, why couldn't you go inside the box?
The box does not. If you film in the box, you don't really have. You can't get the far left and far right.
Just that couple of feet. Because you're
talking. No. I mean, what I mean is in the box they don't have a full opening like they do on the top of the box.
Okay.
Under the box, there's two windows, and neither window offers you a complete 180 scan.
I thought it was bigger than that.
It does offer you a pretty hefty view of the field within the box.
Right.
However, it doesn't offer you the two critical angles that you need for scores. Because where the end zones are and in soccer or lacrosse, where the nets are just. Yeah, you for all intents and purposes, you have to be on top of the box, which is why if it's raining or snowing, we're not going to cover a game there.
True. Even if it's a playoff game or something?
Many games don't continue if it's raining hard enough. I think maybe just football. Yeah. But soccer won't, I don't think so, unless it's like...
A snowstorm would be fun for the football.
Maybe for them.
Oh, well,
not for my camera people.
We were watching, me and my wife were watching, it was not a playoff game, but it was a game last week, and it meant a lot for the playoffs. It was an NFL game. The camera was just, you couldn't even see. And my wife, and I'm looking at my wife going, $1 billion productions, billions.
And there's nothing they can do about that.
My wife says, wipe it off.
Yeah.
So you wanted him to wipe that can, and I'm like, why can't they wipe it off? Because it was the same water droplets.
I don't think it's just the water droplets. It's also something to do with relative humidity, and it's going to fog up the lens.
But these
Sometimes
weren't fogged, it was just droplets.
You could continually wipe it,
It
but
doesn't
you're
matter.
going to
Okay.
get streaks. It's going to be
Maybe
constant.
because of the heat and stuff.
Unless you have a windshield wiper effectively, but even that is going to be obscuring the view.
But I'm talking billions.
Yeah, I know.
You know the
I
equipment you have.
Yeah. Like I said, even you can catch mistakes on these billion-dollar network productions.
Yeah.
Nobody's perfect. That's just speaks to the nature of it being a live event that people are scrambling to cover.
Right.
And it takes a certain kind of multitask mind to just do it.
And that van you have, that's beautiful, isn't it?
I love it.
Yeah.
We've had it since I believe 2015.
Yeah.
So going on 9 years on the van.
Wow, it's like you just got it.
It's a Dodge ProMaster.
Freaking beautiful.
Dodge ProMaster.
It's a master. You're gonna like it.
We've loaded up with monitors and
Everything.
video switchers
That's
and
professional.
audio recorders, and it's itself has gone through several generations of sophistication since we've been covering.
Right.
So now we have, instead of just high definition, we shoot in 4K.
Right.
Now we have replay. We have the ability to do multiple camera replays.
Right.
We have the ability to stream live out of the van using a fiber connection to YouTube and Facebook, and live on our channels and live on our website. So we're actually currently live on 4 different broadcasts, one of which is live in 4K, which is crazy.
Wow.
So the amount that we've advanced in about a decade is kind of remarkable.
Oh, like I say, and even today, you walk into some of these places, and I'm going to want to, even in any other state, you're in someone's living room, and that's the size of
a lot of these other
here.
access stations are out of a school or out of a little municipal building.
Yeah.
I've been in some tiny access stations, but they just exist to cover their municipal meetings.
That's right. Yeah,
and
yeah.
some town stuff.
I understand, yeah.
Even the ones that cover sports, unless they have a production van, they're just going to go out with maybe 1 camera or 2 cameras.
Well, a lot of them can share what you guys do, and you do.
Yep.
You share it with the whole community, and it's like
and vice versa. Like when Methuen, for example, covers the Thanksgiving Day game, they go back and forth between Drake and Methuen.
Sure.
When it's their turn to do it at home, we just bicycle. We call it bicycling. We bicycle their program to us, and we share.
Can't
I
beat
like
that.
that nature of cooperation between the access center. Because at the end of the day, it's just hyper local programming, and I feel like students of both schools could benefit. Citizens from each town, could benefit from these broadcasts, even if it's not Lowell specific or Drake specific or whatever.
the thing is, it's it's funny, and you don't really you think, oh, you're just reaching local. My Taekwondo show that you guys do for me, which is phenomenal, also with the way you we put that together, and
You've got international viewers, don't you?
I got people from Argentina, Venezuela.
Yeah.
Got people writing me from parts of the country because they're getting it on Comcast. I mean, I don't know how they're getting it, but they are getting it. It filters out throughout the world.
Well, you're on YouTube too, right?
Yeah, but that was before I was on YouTube. We've only been on YouTube for a year or so.
Oh, that's right. But you were also on websites,
DATV
our
and
website
Comcast,
on demand. Yep,
right on demand.
TV.
So, and I was surprised, and now with YouTube,
I wonder if you have any Korean viewers.
I haven't got anything from the Korean viewers yet, but I'm getting a lot of grandmasters who want to friend me around the world, around the country anyway, on TikTok, whatever, because they.
You want to brush up on your hip jog?
We've seen
you come see Grandmaster Bob Lemire.
Yeah, don't get me going. So, and I see you got backyard birds. What's that about? Come on now.
Backyard birds is my my little pet project.
Yeah.
I like bird watching.
Right.
And I just like going to my parents' house. They have a bunch of bird feeders. They live in Charlton, which is a little bit more rural.
Oh yeah.
And I just wanted to film the birds because I sat around bird watching and noticed that like a ton of different birds would come and go.
Right.
And I knew that certain birds would come only during the summer, others would come only during the winter.
Right.
So I wanted to start this project where I periodically, maybe 4 times a year, every season, film the birds and just see how many I can capture on camera.
And you're capturing them in flight. You're capturing. I mean, you must have had some of them diving in for fish and stuff.
Yep. It's fun.
Well, it's funny, and you're a cameraman, and you know what you're looking for. I've seen, and like I go to Planet Fitness, and they have a chair you sit down, and it's massage chair.
Massage chair, yep.
But they have a screen like what we have here, and they have, as you're in the massage chair, it's relaxing
Zen.
music.
Yeah.
And they have one with just birds.
Yeah.
All right, flying with a fish in the
That is
with
something-
music.
Yeah, that's something I didn't intend on. I literally just started doing backyard birds because I wanted to just see how many I could capture. Just birds doing interesting things, fun things.
Right.
Maybe just like, oh, hey, maybe you didn't know that in any given day you can have up to like a dozen different species of bird visit your
even know
feeder.
it, yeah.
Just for people who are like not really into birds, but they just casually like, oh, has it ever occurred to you how many birds come? Well, I can show you. Even in one couple of hour span, I can get a dozen birds here. Yep. But when I did that initially, I didn't really realize how
Intense.
zen it would become, how relaxing.
Zen's the
video.
word. Zen's the word. Yep.
People can put on my video to fall asleep to.
Oh, so
people-
you are putting music to it.
No, I'm not. I could because if I did though, some other time, sometimes I film next to a small garden pond that my dad maintains with a little pump. So there's a small trickle of
you're
water.
hearing the water.
And the water is enough music. People
Right,
love that.
right,
When you're
yeah.
hearing little sounds,
Right.
nature sounds.
Oh, you should take yourself up to the White Mountains, and you want to see some birds up there because I remember kayaking.
Last year I went to Mount Greylock, which is the tallest mountain in Massachusetts.
Yeah,
And there's birds up there that are only up there,
unbelievable.
only in the alpine.
Yeah,
It's like above a certain elevation because there's only certain trees that grow at that height,
Right.
and only certain birds that can live in those trees. So
you must have got an eagle. You must have an eagle.
I don't have an eagle yet on
Oh.
camera. I have several hawks, but no eagles.
Oh,
I have at least 3 kinds of hawks,
Yeah.
but yet to have an eagle. I have an eagle. I also do trail cam videos
okay. Oh, so you have an
in the
eagle.
woods. So I have foxes and raccoons and
Right.
deer and coyotes, and I have hawks coming down to get snakes. I have owls coming down to get mice. I'm starting to get into more. As much as I do sports and weddings and deal with all these human activities, I've gotten more. I don't know, personal joy of this hobby of filming animals and local wildlife.
Because there's a lot of eagle out there in New Hampshire now.
Yep.
Lots and more than one. You'll have like, I don't know if you want to call it a family or they. I was on a kayak with 2 kayaks with my brother-in-law up at Ossipee, and we looked up at the tallest tree and there's an eagle sitting there many years ago, and we're kayaking, and so I looked up and I said, "Hey, you." To the eagle. So he's looking this way, but his whole head turned around. You know how their heads can turn around?
Yeah. Almost like an owl.
I said, "Hey, you don't look that tough." So he turned around and looked at me. He looked at me, and I went like this to my brother-in-law. I pointed to him. He said it.
Yeah.
Because
you don't look so tough? All right, big man, tough guy. Why don't you hold a fish up in the air?
And
Those talons will rip your arm off.
Kennebec, I'm not sure if it was an eagle or a big whatever. We were going down to
Osprey,
Kennebec.
maybe? That's the other fishing eagle-like bird. Is an
All right,
osprey.
so it could have been. We're on these kayaks. Not kayaks, the big rafts going down to Kennebec. Right in front of us. One come down, scooped up, had this fish between his and he went right in front of us. I went, what a picture that would have made.
Yeah, right. That's the place to go find eagles. Is big bodies of water, especially if there's dead trees around.
Right.
They make their nests in dead trees. They're commonly around bodies of water because unlike hawks, which are going to mostly attack terrestrial animals, eagles, they're fishing most of the time. And the fish don't even stand a chance.
No.
The eagles can see them. The fish can't see or hear them.
Yeah.
They just,
And then
they'll do it right in front of you.
And
like
the eagles are
observe.
being attacked by the little crows. Who attacks the eagles?
Crows and blue jays.
Blue jays, they go all over
They'll do
them.
something called mobbing.
Yeah.
It's called mobbing behavior.
The eagle don't give a shit.
They will maybe if enough of them make enough of a stink.
he gets out.
They'll chase them out.
Well, I heard they go so high, they'll say, "Out to hell with it," and the eagle will go so high, the rest
that
of them
they
can't
can't
do
even
it.
do it. Yeah, you go so high that you're no longer flying; you're actually soaring.
Yeah.
which is like a distinct form of flying,
Right.
where other birds that can't soar
can't do
can't
it.
even reach you.
They won't reach it.
So, yeah.
And, like if you Googled, where can I find the most eagles in New Hampshire?
Probably the lakes regions, I would say.
Definitely. But I mean, some lake regions, like I know up at Ossipee, they have quite a few eagles. We see them all the time.
I would say the lesser populated ones. Obviously, the lakes region is very popular.
Right.
A lot of boats, a lot of loud
Yeah,
activity going on.
Right.
But certainly, lakes, bodies of water, very
Right.
popular. If you
Right.
get into maybe the less populated areas of New Hampshire,
Probably,
for sure,
yeah.
I would say Maine. definitely.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Moosehead, anything like that. There's probably tons of eagles.
And they're so cool looking.
I've only done this in my parents' backyard.
Right.
and I've individually cataloged at least 30 or 40 species of birds, right. And I've cataloged around a dozen, maybe a dozen and a half woodland creatures, like mammals, like fishers and all this stuff. So if I were to even, and that's just in one backyard, that's kind of the point I was trying to illustrate in the beginning of doing backyard birds. It's started as like a little hobby, but I know that it's kind of a little bit zen and people like watching it just because it's comfortable. But I also like covering it because I just want to show people that even if you look in your backyard, there's almost 100 unique species that visit your yard every day.
And you don't know it. A bird's a bird.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it pests to a lot of people because they don't want the birds around, which blows me away. But, so you can you name all these birds, by the way?
Yeah.
Oh, you can?
Just about.
So what do you have to look it up? How do you
look it up? There's a lot of...
Take a picture?
That's the benefit of having the video. Bird IDing is fun. Wow. It can be frustrating, but it's fun.
Right.
There's a lot of helpful websites now. A lot of apps as well. There's a Merlin app.
Yeah, you take a picture and it tells you what
now,
the bird is.
Not even just that. You can record the call of a bird, and it'll identify it.
Imagine.
It's great.
We are lazy.
No, not lazy.
Well, before you'd have to go to the library.
Because what do? You hear the sound, and then even if you're trying to search what sounds like boo-da-boo, boo-da-boo, you're not going to be able to enunciate the actual phonetic sound.
That's right.
It's better to record it.
Back in the day, you had to go to the library. You want to find out what bird. We're talking back even in the 70s and 80s.
Oh, yeah. Or the Audubon Society beginnings of the turn of the century. I mean, people were just sketching them into sketchbooks and stuff. They weren't really recording all their sounds. Each bird even has not one call. Every bird has like 8, 9, 10, 11 calls.
Who would know? You know you're a bird watcher then, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. For you. And I did it before my 50s, which is weird because a lot of people say you pick that up in your 50s, but I turned 30 and started getting into bird watching.
But it's you're bird watching because you're going to film them too. So filming is your passion.
Well, I would say my parents were avid bird watchers, and then I was more of a camera person, and I kind of merged those
mixed them up.
Yeah.
But that's, like, as I said, when I watch, and there's one special one with chickadees or whatever, so they put seeds. This is at Planet Fitness, and I'm sitting back watching, and they got music, and the music wants to. But you're watching the little, and they're all coming down, flying, eating, and it goes with the music.
Yep.
And someone sold it to this company. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's making money with that music. So
hey, I'm trying to build my channel. We'll see what happens. And it's one of these days I'll monetize. But.
I mean, I would imagine you'd have to get music that's not, you can't steal music, right?
Sure.
But there's a lot of it. There's a lot of music like that, and that's you've got a good you got a hobby that I'm calling it a hobby. It's a business.
It's a hobby.
Yeah, it's your work. It's your work.
It's my work. But I don't currently monetize it at all. It is a passion project. I air it here on DATV, but I pretty much do it to record my own
because you love it. Right?
Yeah,
it's when you can love your job or have your hobby turn out to make a couple of bucks for you. That's always a plus.
Oh yeah,
because there's a lot of hobbies.
I'm grateful for. Like as I said, we've been talking about my work here. I've been doing video for sports production for a long time. Been doing weddings now for a good amount of time. I haven't gotten sick of doing video production, whether it be directing or editing or filming.
You're getting better because you're getting better.
You never really stop improving.
No. And then
again, I'm the most humble.
I can see that, but
I have more humility than anyone.
And well, not only that, so. You've got your camera and you know how to run your camera. But technology zips it up once a year, every 2 years. Oh, this is a new camera that can do this. And you're going,
instant obsolescence.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Your old cameras are useless. Why were we using those back?
Yeah.
And you know it's going to happen, right? The things that they can.
Almost immediately. It almost just de-incentivizes you to get a camera because, is it not going to be the next new thing in a matter of months?
Is AI good or bad for you?
I don't think it's neither good or bad for me. I would say good because I can, we could perhaps ask AI to generate ideas for coverage or tips on what to do.
Right.
But I don't yet see an avenue where AI is negative. But AI is very mixed bag, for a lot
Well,
of people,
we don't
so.
know where it's going. That's how
Exactly,
scary.
that's why.
And we don't know how deep it is. But I'm thinking, all right, you guys edit. Now you get a whole shot like you do when you say, AI, edit this for me.
AI may be able to.
But it's not going to be personal. It's
No.
not going to be personal. And that personal touch, because you were at the wedding, you were at the game, you know the personal touch too.
Yeah.
That's.
I'm sure AI could be trained to see how typical edits turn out, and you could ask AI to
do it if you had to.
do a prompt, but you as the human would still go in and proofread everything.
Make sure.
I think the AI could probably get the gist of a sports game edit or even over a wedding edit, but of course it's not infallible, and you'd have to keep an eye on it.
It's actually going to be scary. They gotta put a lid on it, but you can't put a lid on us.
You don't want to be ignorant of it. You want to stay on top of what it is. I agree. It's unknown, and I think it's scary because it's unknown. But we should at least try to embrace it insofar as to manipulate it ethically and correctly.
Because I seen, and I don't know if this is AI, but I think it might be. After Mac, Patriots had a bad game, and it was probably his last game ever. He was that bad that day or whatever.
Yeah.
And he has a press conference. TikTok or whatever had him in the press conference, and his mouth was quivering, the whole thing. He was ready to cry, and I felt so bad.
Yeah.
And I wrote, "Oh, I feel bad for Mac," because I liked Mac, but I mean, and somebody said that's not real. It wasn't. It was him at the press
AI
conference.
generated?
They had his lip quivering like he was gonna ball. Then they did it to Mahomes at a one.
Yep.
And I'm
Those
like,
are
is that AI?
deep fakes?
Is that what they call AI?
I think it's something called deep fakes. Those are
Is that what
it's AI generated filters on people's
Jesus,
faces.
good.
That could be dangerous in the future too.
Oh, it was his
it's
mouth
faking
and-
people's voices and speeches.
Presidents.
Presidents, they have whole videos now of
I
different
know.
presidents talking amongst
And
each other.
I
and
don't know if
It
that's-
sounds more and more uncannily real all the time.
It's gotta be.
So
no.
I think we will have to just develop the ability to distinguish. It gets harder and harder, but it still is. The fact that most people could be like, okay, this is clearly AI.
But not a lot of people.
It's done well, but we can still tell.
But not a lot of people.
But
a lot of people, they believe everything they see. I mean, and I'm not saying older people because I'm up there, but older in the 80s and 90s, they see that and they go, wow.
Yeah, they take it at face value.
I saw it on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't real. It was real.
Yeah, it was real to me. Yeah.
Well, they think big time wrestling is real. He's bleeding, ain't he? Yeah.
That truly is the thing we're going to have to contend with soon. Is more and more people are going to have that literacy to be able to tell the difference.
So you guys don't deal with that at all here. You don't. It hasn't hit this type of production where you have to worry about something, or you. Or,
No, not really. I think a lot of those times they're done as a novelty anyway. To generate. I'm sure if we
They're practicing.
fed an AI
Practicing,
hours and hours of your voice, we could probably train AI to
Oh yeah.
to do a Taekwondo episode.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Don't even go there. Hey, he never said that.
Virtual Bob.
Edit that out. Yeah. So I mean, because I'm watching and I'm like it's out of control. It's out of control. Even though it's fun,
It's moving fast.
it's
but
moving fast.
The implications are not yet known. I think it's something we can't really hide from, but we need to.
Right.
learn
That's
from
why
it,
I'm surprised
embrace
you haven't seen it here.
It's not ubiquitous among on all video platforms. I would say, like we can't. We're still here to cover sports games and municipal meetings and events. We're not going to use AI to fake a game or to simulate a meeting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But it's for everything. I mean, they'll say
We could probably use AI for editing. You could probably have an AI version of yourself host your Taekwondo show.
Right.
It's things like that, like studio shows maybe.
Right.
I don't know where AI would apply to covering things like live municipal meetings or live sports events. But in the video space, I think AI could be trained to edit, and I think AI could certainly. You have thousands of hours of your recorded voice and your image.
Right.
AI could be trained to simulate a Taekwondo show or something like that.
Right. Yeah, and that it'll happen down the road. Anything you want will probably be AI.
It just spits out what you feed into it. So,
Right.
I mean, it's something that, we shouldn't be too scared of because it is ultimately what we teach it to be.
But then we teach things to do things. Look at the robot situation.
Now the robots will be teaching themselves. That's when it gets
They already
scary.
are. So,
Yeah.
well, and I'm getting scared of what I'm seeing. I mean, I'm on my way out, but I get grandchildren and stuff, and I can only see the next 40, 50 years.
I don't know.
If we still survive.
Hopefully, it's not all evil.
Yeah. Well, that's praying. That's praying. I'm telling you.
That's all we can do. Right?
Oh yeah. So, well, Jesus, we're almost done here, buddy.
I was skeptical of coming on, and you were like, "It's just a conversation.
Well,
it'll be an hour." And you know what? It's gone by in a flash.
Flies.
You weren't lying.
No, but you know what it is, because there's so much to talk about, especially if you have a passion and you have experience. Yeah. You're telling people what's in your mind, the thought process that's in your mind, and then kids might watch it. Somebody might say, he makes it sound so much fun. They get into that.
I hope so.
All right, you know what I'm saying? And wow, what a nice. You're always around the action.
Yeah.
All right.
If you like sports, yeah.
Yeah. And now you're not just doing sports. You're at a lot of other. You do a lot of other stuff too.
Yep. We do concerts and
political
parades and
everything.
shows.
Yeah.
And, we just got done with their round of holiday concerts. I think I was at like 2 or 3 elementary schools and a middle school, and we cover everything.
And people come up to you and say, "Hey, how you doing, Mike?" And you're going, "I don't have a clue this guy is," right? Because they see you and you're that fixture.
I guess, yeah.
They
I think there's a number of people who probably recognize me as the person who shows up to all these events.
Right.
Who know me and I don't necessarily know them.
That's
yeah,
right.
That's
right.
true.
Yeah, and they'll find out your name. Your name's right all
They're
over.
like,
it.
"Hey, you."
Hey, I know. Yeah.
It's you. There you are.
If someone says Bob, I say, "Hey, buddy, what's going, Champ? How you doing,
Hey,
Champ?"
Chief, what's going on?
Chiefs are going.
Hey,
yeah.
Sport. Hey,
Yeah.
nice to see you.
Well, so many people I've taught with their kids, and their kids were 5, and now they're 35 and they're 40. You know what I'm saying? 50 years I've been almost teaching this. The kids were babies. Now they're 40 with grandkids. And so, "You remember me?" I go, "No, I was 10 when you taught me."
Yeah.
Yeah, you're 45 right now.
Yeah.
I don't remember you.
You don't look alike at all.
Even if you did, I can't remember everybody's name.
Yeah,
and,
of course not.
And I'm known for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, buddy. Hey, Champ. Yeah. But at least you call him something.
Yeah, exactly.
Not,
At least
"Hey, you.
acknowledge it.
Hey,
yeah.
you.
Hey, yous.
Well, I hope everyone enjoyed this show. We want to. I'd like to get everyone on the staff on this show, because everyone's got their own little niche that
absolutely.
they probably have. And
I would love Nate to come on and talk about his. He's big into volleyball and bowling.
Oh, that's good to
sports.
know. I didn't know that.
He's pretty elite when it comes to those. So
well, it's a sports show, and I don't call it just a sports show. Sports and training. When I say training, when you're going out filming birds, you're training. That's not a sport. Maybe it is a sport, but you're training.
it's a passion.
It's a passion. It's a training.
Again, this is a sports podcast, but we were talking about birds and animals and AI.
As I say, sports and training. Now, when I say, training can be guitar.
Training to anything.
You're a great guitar player. Come on my show, because you're training. You can't just be a great guitarist. You have to train.
Exactly. Anything that requires a skill and work
You've got
towards
to put
a
time
goal.
into it.
Sure.
Yeah. Some people think, "Oh, it's easy. I could do that." Whenever someone says I could do that, I go, "You don't have a clue."
I'd say, yeah, you can do it, but can you do it well?
I did help Ron Bork. Shout out to Ron. He was running PATV when I first started.
Pelham,
Access Television. Back in the day, we're talking 34, 5 years ago. So, Bob, come out. I want to film something. He goes, "I'm going to go way down here, and you're going to film me." I said, "All right. How hard can that be?" He's out there, and he's talking. He's got the mic, and he's talking about the land. And we had a whole half hour. He gets back to the studio. He goes, "Oh, Bob, you can't go like this with the camera.
Yeah.
Move it." He goes, "All you saw was zit, zit, zit."
Oh, yeah.
He goes, "Everything's going to be in a slow." I go, "You never taught me that."
Yeah, if you don't know, you're going to get sick.
I could see it. And he goes, "Yeah, we can't even use that." But,
Yeah.
well, I hope everyone enjoyed the show. Mike Dobbs, we can call him Dobbs, or Dobbs, yeah, wherever.
Whatever
He
you want.
tells me I sound like I'm from New York or Billerica.
Billerica.
Oh, Bellerica.
Billerica.
Yeah.
Billerica.
Bellerica, yeah. Wherever.
Talk to your doctor about taking Billerica.
So if you want to watch this show, which it's on DATV, Drake It. What is it? DrakeItTV.org.
DrakeItTV.org.
DrakeItTV.org. YouTube, we got Taekwondo Grandmaster Bob Lemire. It's on. They got the podcast, and we have the Taekwondo show, half-hour Taekwondo training. And I think are we still on Merrimack Valley radio?
I don't know.
We were on there for a little while. I can't.
This podcast?
Yes.
It should be.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that we send this out to all the other socials, but I'm not sure.
I heard it
I hope so.
Yeah, well, I
It
did.
is a Merrimack Valley audio program. I mean,
Right, and it was 3 or 4 days for a while. Still don't know if they do, but if they do, Merrimack Valley, was it MVP, whatever, Merrimack Valley Productions or whatever.
I wish we researched this better.
Yeah, I would have. You think I'd know? It's me. But anyway, thank you so much, Mike.
Thanks for having me, Bob.
It was a pleasure. We'll do it again. We'll get Nate. I want to even get Gary and
bring on the whole crew
and Matt one time because Gary's got his stories like you do. He's been doing this.
Oh yeah,
I'm
sure Gary's got a lot of good stories. For you.
I knew Gary back in the days, Comcast days, where he was with, because I was working for Brian Gurry, which was the American Builder, and that was that station, and it was a whole thing, and that's where I met Gary many years ago. So, get everybody on the show, the whole crew. As I say, greatest crew in the world.
Oh, thank you.
Help you out, modest, humble. I got the most humble one right here.
Yeah, the most humble one here. Thank you.
So I hope you enjoyed the show. Till next time, train hard and have some fun.